Today we are discussing The Witcher Season 2, Episodes 1 and 2. We'll do a little non-spoiler bumper for everyone that kind of forgot what's going on. Actually, I'm kind of in that boat, and I've even watched the 30-second or 3-minute recap, and then I went and watched the 15-minute recap that they had in the, the Netflix section. So apparently people don't really remember what happened in the first one, and I'm kind of that mind too. And I kind of wanted to do a little bit more of an unconventional podcast with this one. I don't remember the majority of what happened in season 1, except for basically he's this guy that hunts monsters, and he's got to protect this girl, and there's this one girl that's had to sacrifice it all named Yennefer, and she went from being like a humpback of Notre Dame looking woman to looking like a princess, but she had to risk it all, and now she can't have kids, and now she's pissed, and now she has these powers, and now she's like a sorceress or something. And then there's the toss a coin to you Witcher guy that I don't know what's going on with his deal. Basically he told him to get fucked. So that guy is out of the picture, I guess. And so basically coming into this, I don't remember basically 90% of what's going on in this. And on top of the 15-minute recap, I still don't know what's going on. I was like, oh, wait, I do remember some of that. I don't remember some of the other stuff. Like Yennefer fell in love, fell out of love, got told to fuck off too, and then, is kind of got a vendetta against Geralt and all this shit now. But a lot of the motivations of what's going on and all these different characters and subplots, I feel like they're talking about people and talking about places and things they've done and things that have happened and things they're elves and shit like that. And it's a lot of telling and not showing. And I think that the reason that obviously it's got a second season is it's got Henry Cavill as Geralt or Geralt or whatever the fuck name. And he puts his whole heart into it, especially with the physicality of the performance as well. So I got to say that from the visual standpoint and the aesthetic, I think that works. It's the storytelling and occasionally the direction. I feel like they're kind of dropping the ball, which they're trying to harken off so much of the Game of Thrones aesthetic that I feel like this show is almost too self-serious, and occasionally the tonal shifts in it aren't exactly working, in my opinion. So continuing on just this first episode real quick before we hop into the spoiler section of the 2 episodes. Just this first episode, it feels more like a prologue, kind of like kind of getting you re-ingrained of what's going on. And I'm not going to look at the descriptions of anything. I'm actually going to kind of do it all off the top of the head. So most of these podcasts are way more descriptive and factual based, based off of like the synopsis and everything. But I'm just going to kind of base it off of what the fuck I just saw, because I was like, this is looking like some crazy ass nonsense. But at a certain point, it kind of hooked me. I'd say the biggest issue with this is the pacing of people talking about things that happened and places they went, and me not understanding those motivations. And it's just not affecting me in an emotional, compelling way. Although the visuals are still entertaining, so it's keeping me just enough entertained to stay in it, but not enough to be like, holy shit, this is super compelling. So these first 2 episodes are very creature feature heavy, and so I'm enjoying that a little bit more. And with that aesthetic, I don't think that Thrones, Game of Thrones was super based within the creature features, although they did have some creatures in there. That's not like what their main goal was. This feels more like monster of the week kind of thing. So, or story of the week. So, this first episode, I don't even have the first episode title in here. So this the first episode. I told you this is going to be really winging it. Basically, Geralt and I think her name's Priscilla, the princess. We're going to get into like spoilers for this first episode, and then I'll get into the second one. Very unconventional podcast, like I said. So they go into just like the first season. Geralt was kind of like hopping and going into these different places and taverns and towns and helping out. Tossing a coin to a witcher, doing a chore for them for some money. And I think that was kind of my problem with the first with the first season. Well, I was like, why does this guy even need money? I feel like this guy's like got the power. What is money even to him? But I think that was explained in the first season. I did a recap of it, so go back and check that. And that one's going to be a lot more concise than this. I'll go at the end of this season and give a way more descriptive, factual, fresh off the dome, not fresh off the dome podcast. It's going to have reasoning and making sure everything lines up accordingly to this season. So like this one, he's kind of waltzing into these towns, waltzing out, and I do remember the non-linear storytelling that made the first season even more confusing. This second season is linear, but it still feels like they're hopping around from characters and plots that I don't exactly know what's going on, or I'm not hooked into it 100%. So something about Yennefer's character is kind of just falling flat for me in this first episode. Nothing too crazy to report about here. She's kind of like I think she's with this group at this point, but I don't feel like anything really that interesting has happened. So starting talking about the first episode, basically this first episode is a weird ass Beauty and the Beast fucked up storytelling of some sort, with a slash of like vampire lady, is it, or something like that. It's like this chic. And so kind of what I forgot about the first season was how good the action was, which I didn't feel this first episode really indulges in. The first season of The Witcher had really good action, and I think that was what was really compelling me, is like, holy shit, Henry Cavill can do pretty good choreography with that. You clearly tell it's him. But this second season's not hitting off with a bang like that. I mean, we do want the big battles and whatnot, because when I was watching the recap, I was like, holy shit, I remember all this being really hype, and it brings us to this pinnacle of this battle of Nymphgard, and Mouse Sack gets stabbed in the stomach, I think, skirt with a shiv, and the other guy transforms into another Mouse Sack. So we got this guy, this face changing guy. I think there's some sort of name for those, but anyways, the transforming face guys. So we got to watch out for that. And then we have these elves in the forest or something like that, and I was like, what is going on? So the storytelling does feel a little bit muddled in that way. It feels like we're kind of like juggling like 8 different storylines, and we're trying to figure out the motivations of everyone and care about them as well. And on top of that, everyone's super self-serious, so it makes it a little bit hard to kind of get freshly engaged with this. But I did power through this first episode, and it leaves breadcrumbs of making it more and more interesting, with this like the Sheik like staring at this princess while she's in the bathtub. I was like, this is a little bit problematic, but that's beside the point at this point. She's like trying to seduce kind of Priscilla in a way that, saying that we're alike and you can't trust anybody else, kind of thing. And on the other hand, there is this guy that looks like a Beauty and the Beast looking ass dude, and he is basically stuck looking like a boar kind of thing. Like it's straight up like a fucked up Beauty and the Beast. And he's trying to he's got like magic at the top of his his fingertips. He's just like bada bing, bada boom. And all of a sudden there's like a ham sandwich in front of you. And it's like, God dang. I was like, you can't go wrong with how he's trying to smooze everybody. But this guy is played by Torms. Is it Torms? Jorms? I don't know. Torm Giantsbane, the big redheaded guy from Game of Thrones. He basically looks pretty legit in the costume that they have him in. That, like I said, the creature features in this are pretty good, which keeps me intrigued. The pacing was kind of slow and laborious in some parts, just with the dialogue. But I do feel like they're trying to leave breadcrumbs of something's not right when they're trying to bunker up in this shack. And we know at the beginning of this season, or at the beginning of this episode, that this crew goes into, I think it's like a woman and a man, I think, maybe two men and a woman, or a woman, and the horse and everything's walking in. This is the very beginning of the first episode, and they're all like taken away by this like what looks like a flying vampire thing or something like that, which we eventually come into at the end of this episode. So Torm's Giantsbane's kind of looking like a beast, and he's just like seducing Priscilla with all these nice goods and stuff like that. And she feels like something's watching her, and eventually Priscilla is like woken up by this chic looking thing, and she's like being stared at. And I gotta say the effects on some of these are very hit or miss on The Witcher. The transitional things, when people transition to other people, I don't think always look 100% good. Just kind of look like cheap effects. This Sheik having this, this moving head. It looks like they shifted the frame rates up super fast on her, or down. I don't know what the hell. They did something with the frame rates, and I'm not exactly sure if I thought that worked. It was like, oh god, I don't think this is going to age very well. But that was just me. The Sheik was kind of interesting. I don't know who it was played by because I don't have any of that information up, but I liked her acting generally. Crazy looking eyes. And then when she turns into the actual vampire Sheik looking thing, I don't know exactly what it's called, but I'm just calling her that. It's like scary as fuck. I was watching this at night and I was like, like I was watching this like one in the morning. I was like, maybe I shouldn't have been watching this so late, like going to sleep, thinking about this like fine ass woman, and then all of a sudden her teeth going fucking it mode on you, and fucking trying to get a chunk of you. I was like, oh my god! So she will like seduce you and then like get your ass. So I was like, oh my Lanta, I'm not ready for all this. So, anyways, I think The Witcher, he's snarling through the majority of this episode, like he always sounds like this. It's like he's almost like he's doing like a Clint Eastwood impression. He's like, make my D. I don't know, but anyways, when the Sheik is revealed to be eating Torm's Giantsbane's like neck, you see him like laying there at first, and you're like, what's going on? And then it cuts back, and then you see that he's like, you find out that he can't die. He's tried to kill himself, and he's cursed by this, being a beast. He has to be a beast for the rest of his life, and he can't die. So we find that early in the episode. So he's letting this Sheik like feast off of him and stuff like that. There's so much random backstory that we hear about this guy, and we're told about, but we're not really shown. And basically, like, he's cursed to be a beast, I think, because he had raped a princess or something like that. And the very end, basically the Sheik is like attacking the Witcher, and it's scary as fuck. I was like, oh damn, I would not want to be attacked by this shit. And it's trying to get Priscilla, and then the beast is like, no, don't kill her, because he loves her and stuff like that, because he's actually letting her feast off of him to survive. And he's like, it's not her fault, she's a whatever Sheik or something like that, we're meant for each other. It's very Romeo and Juliet kind of thing. And this Sheik is like running around and like flying around and trying to attack the Witcher and stuff like. He's like whoosh, 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 and then eventually he gets. I think he gets stabbed. Sorry, the Sheik gets stabbed or impaled by Torm's Giantsbane, and he's like, no. He's so sad. He's like, no. And then she's like, for some reason she gets naked. I don't remember what the reason was, but there's always like for some reason to get some nudity in here. But I was like, all right. I mean, she got it going on, Sheik or not, still fine. And I was like, all right, this is okay. But then she gets impaled. I was like, oh, dude, just ruined it for everybody. And then what was the scary thing was she was impaled, and then she turns her head at 180 degrees to see who impaled her, and then her arms turn around like fucking like a movie I watched earlier this year. But she starts going like fucking Exorcist. It starts pulling the pole in her back, and it's going through her furthermore, like it's furthermore impaling her, and from her own arms pulling it in, and her head's on backwards, and it's coming towards Jorm's dying Spain, and fucking Henry Cavill's Gerald's like, no! And takes that head clean off. Torms, I don't even know if it's Torms. Beast Torms Giant Spains. Like, no! And yeah, that's kind of the first episode. I was like, oh shit, well. And that's where we find out the whole backstory of why when her head's cut, the curse is broken, and basically he's turned into a regular man, and now he has permission to die, and he wants to be killed at the very end. He's like, I don't deserve to live. And I was like, oh god, this is one of those tropes. So we've seen that before. I can't think off the top of my head when we've seen it, but we've seen it so many times where the hero spares the villain because it's worse for them to live with the thought of the guilt of what they've done than what actually the chopping of the head would do of Torm's Dying Spain. You know, it would relieve him of that stress. But, you know, he's like, if you want your head off, you have to do it yourself, or something like that. So that is the first episode. I'm not sure if everyone's going to like this podcast in comparison to the other ones. The other one's a lot more factual based, you know, pushes glasses in. Let me see. Okay, so second episode is going to be a lot shorter just because I just watched it and I already kind of forgot what happened. Okay, so, oh yeah, so The Witcher is walking into a new city. Like I said, in the second episode, spoilers and everything. Walking into a new city, not a new city, it's more like a tiny town. And it's got a bunch of what I think are other Witchers that are in training and have been in the game for a while. And we find like one of the older Witchers that Geralt was trained by, I believe. I think this is like basically his Yoda, but just not quite as interesting. And he definitely doesn't have as good as dialogue. So, sorry, I need to get a little water. Oh, yeah. So, yeah, oh, yeah, that's a lot better. The Yoda-esque character, the older guy, Vesemir or something like that, I don't know. I can't remember anybody's fucking name. All I know is Mousesack, Nilfgaard, Geralt, and Yennefer. I told you these fucking names are ridiculous. And that's only like a third of the cast. That's not even the whole family. And some dude's being tortured in like a cave. I was like, what the hell's going, or not a cave, but like a castle. And I was like, what in the hell's going on? So, anyways, they go into this place where a bunch of other Witchers, I believe, are in training, and they're celebrating with a bunch of prostitutes or town whores or whatever you want to call them. Yeah, I'm not calling them whores, but I'm pretty sure that's what the terminology would be back then. Or I don't know. I'm not trying to be degrading of sex work, so I'm just not gonna go there. I don't mean it in a degrading way. You know, you can be who you need to be. You can be a man hoe, you can be a woman hoe, you can be a non-binary hoe. Everybody a hoe. So, back to the show. So we are in this town where everyone's celebrating. Everyone looks like it's about to be a big fest. And basically what happens is this weird sweaty looking ass dude named like Escol or something like that comes in looking like he's definitely on some shit. And Geralt's like, my brother. And, you know, every time they hit the embrace, it's like, it's the classic look at each other mad and then like embrace each other with a big old embrace, or like hit the fist or something like that, or whatever, embrace each other. But you always got to come up with the super masculine energy. Where you been, brother? "Well, I'm just kidding, man. Where the hell you been, man?" And then they kind of do that. But Eskel's looking like extra sweaty. And so, yeah, Eskel ain't looking too good, man. So since Eskel is looking all this sweaty, he's looking weird, grabbing all this, trying to like be like, "Who are you, Priscilla? Where the hell are you?" And ends up Eskel takes one of the prostitutes to the back, and they're about to get a fruit sesh on, and they start fruiting, and the camera is panning around in this crazy looking ass room, and you turn to his back, and you see some nasty looking shit. It looked like he had like a burn, and then it had swelled into like the Venom character was coming out of his fucking shoulder, and she's like has no idea this is going on, and he's fruiting her at the same time, and you see this like Venom looking shit coming out, looks like a vine. I was like, oh my god. And there's like the music like swells up, and then it's like, and then cuts to the next scene, and I'm like, oh god, that is not gonna be good. So something about when they have body horror and then the sex scene, just actually, that's an extra layer of horrifying on me. I mean, like, sex can be pretty horrifying, but just adding an actual horror element in it is extra horrifying. So we can they flash over to Yennefer and this random crowd. Don't even ask me what crowd she's with or what conversation she's having. I actually watched this scene maybe twice because I was falling asleep last night, and I was like, what the fuck is going on? And I was like, I don't need to be watching this nastiness right before I go to sleep. And so I watched the majority of it this morning, and so I was like, okay, it's all good. And I'm watching it, and I was like, oh yeah, this fucking like cabin stands up on its two like dinky ass feet, I guess, or looking like chicken feet, turns around and opens its windows like, and it's like absorbing Yennefer, this one lady, and this other elf lady, and they all have separate visions in this cabin. I'm like, what is even going on? And one of them's like, one, you have to do this, and the other lady's the ladies be like seduced by like a knight and talking. I don't fucking know what the fuck, some gibberish. And the other one is being seduced. The elf is being seduced by an older elf lady, and Yennefer is being like taunted by a little lady that then like badly has a bad special effect, transforming into an older lady again. And it's like Yennefer's like, oh, it's like, okay. Yeah, I'm not really sure, but I guess we'll see what the tasks are for Yennefer and the other lady with the Knights band. Anyways, flash forward. I'm just going to finish up whatever they have to do, and the elf lady's told that she's carrying one of the last elves or one of the last pure elves. I don't know what the fuck's going on. She's carrying an elf or something, and that's basically, I guess, all we need to know. So hope that goes well. I can't imagine that it's going to go well in this world, but I just hope it does. What else do we got? Yeah, some of the body horror and stuff like that. Okay, so we're flashing back to Geralt and this fucking abomination. Oh my Jesus. So Geralt is like slowly told by Vesemir, or whatever the fuck his Yoda master is. He's like, don't worry about Priscilla, she can go to the whorehouse or something like that. And fucking he sends her to the prostitute house or something like that, and the prostitutes are like all sitting in there, and we've seen this scene even in Game of Thrones before. It's like they're all like freaking out and stuff like that. They end up booking it, but Priscilla's like, nah, I don't want to do that. I want to be a fighter. It's like, okay, we're finally seeing some shit that she wants to do. I don't think she does shit in this, but flash over to, or jump over to Geralt, and he's going in, decides Priscilla, oh, she can take care of herself, I guess, and he's like going in slowly into this like void, or not into this void, into this room, and it feels like he's like entering the void. He's like looking around like, holy shit. And all of a sudden vines start attacking him out of nowhere. I'm like, what is even happening? It looks like a weird combination of like Groot and Venom because it was so damn dark. So the effects are kind of but I still like seeing Henry Cavill do all this like crazy, knife welding shit or sword welding shit, and feels a little bit James Wan-y in the way that they're doing some of the action, the way that they're choreographing it and having the camera follow him and move with Geralt, or whatever the fuck his name, I think it's Geralt. So, anyways, what else do we have? The reveal of this fucking character is like, oh my Jesus. I think the first, before he's really fully attacked, he sees the dead prostitute woman, who is just completely impaled by a bunch of what looked like the bottom of like a tree. And you're like, what the hell is even going on? And he's like, oh God. And fucking Geralt is all of a sudden attacked by what looks like an ugly abomination ass. It looks like, okay, so everyone has seen the second movie, Pirates of the Caribbean, when they find Orlando Bloom's dad that had been stuck as like a barnacle on the bottom of the sea on Davy Jones' ship. It looks like a weird combination of that character and what's it called? Groot. And it's like Evil Groot, and it's fucking Geralt, Henry Cavill versus Evil Groot. I'm like, what the fuck is even happening? And it's like, and then, the music's going, everything's like action packed. I was like, God dang, this is crazy. I was like, so now I remember why I was watching this shit. So, because it's like shit I couldn't even make up. But I was like, this is pretty cool. And then Vesemir walks in, or whatever the fuck the older guy's name is, and he's like, Geralt, here's some help, because Geralt's like strung down, his arms are like wailing out, and he's getting stabbed by Evil Groot at this point, Eskel as Evil Groot, and he's like, I walked in and I felt something was wrong, but I just couldn't help myself. Stab, and it's like, okay. I can't exactly remember how they kill the Witcher, or how a way to kill him, because I'm pretty sure he's invincible, or he's old, super old. There's the rules of the guy I don't remember are very fully established, and I feel like it's probably been 2 years since I've seen that old other one, but I don't remember exactly when the first one came out. I was so in the dark on that first season. Might even have to listen to my own podcast to remember what the hell happened. But basically, this one is that old tale that you got to watch out for Evil Groot or something like that. I guess that's an old classic tale. But anyways, yeah, that's kind of the second episode. Eventually, they take down Evil Groot after a cool action scene. Yennefer is still kind of uninteresting at this point. And at the very end, Priscilla is kind of trying to learn knife sword wielding skills from Geralt in her princess attire. So I was like, okay. I was like, y'all didn't learn anything from Game of Thrones of how some of the characters just learned from the ground up. Maisie Williams' character in the entire series basically was training the entire series. And Priscilla, I feel, is like, all right, I'm just going to have a knife, or sorry, I keep saying a knife, a sword real quick. And I feel like what they're going to do is they're going to do a time leap, and all of a sudden she's probably going to know some badass skills. I'm not exactly sure how much that's true. And I kind of forgot her whole little speech from her mother and whatnot. I forgot their home their kingdom was overrun and taken in by Nilfgaard or whatever the fuck it's called. I don't know what's going on. But yeah, but basically Priscilla's this like daughter surrogate for Geralt, and it's kind of interesting, but like I said, it's not super compelling. But having Evil Groot and Superman and fight each other seems pretty cool. But yeah, let's continue on. I'm not sure how many podcasts I'm going to do of this season 2, just because it's definitely wonky for me. But I'm gonna finish it. I should be able to come back and give a season roundup on it. But thank y'all for listening, watching, Look It Up podcast. The Witcher Season 2 Episodes 1 and 2 review. Let me know what you all thought about it. Let me know what you think about the podcast, and hope everyone is having a happy holidays. Take it easy. Oh yeah, if you want this podcast early, you know what to do. Patreon.com/LuckyDog Podcast. You can also go to LuckyDogPodcast.com for all social medias. Take it easy.